I think another big thing is not the products you pick, but how you sell them. Feda, ChatGPT, hundreds of our best VSLs, hundreds of other competitors' VSLs, and it knows exactly each structure and why it works. If you're willing to put in the work, we have everything that can help you get to the next step. I did it myself. We have a lot of clients who've done it as well.
Hey everyone, Alex Fedotoff here, and today we have an amazing guest. We have Bukunmi. He's e-commerce entrepreneur. He's doing great numbers with his business, $800,000 a month.
Yeah.
And he's also a coach in Brand Builders Academy, our program where we help e-commerce entrepreneurs start and scale their e-commerce businesses. So Bukunmi just was visiting Miami for business, and also came to the office to see our team. So we have a sit down here, and we'll talk about business. We'll talk about your journey. We'll learn as much as possible, and we'll share with you guys the insights. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
Yeah, thank you, Bukunmi. So you traveled all the way from Australia here to Miami to meet our team.
Yeah. Came here from doing some business stuff as well as, meet everyone here. But yeah, it was a long flight, but it was good. Happy to see all you guys here. And yeah.
Awesome. And so what's, if you can remind everyone, what's your story, how you got into e-commerce in the first place?
Yeah, so I started e-commerce when I was about 19 years old. So I first finished school at 18 and did crypto for the first maybe 4 to 5 months, like NFT trading and things like that.
You made any money?
Yeah, here and there. Like the thing about NFTs is it's very kind of degenerate. It's kind of like you wake up at 3 a.m., you might make $2,000 and lose $2,000. It's not very substantial, I would say. But maybe I made a couple thousand, nothing crazy. Then after that, I went into e-com by myself. I actually did it when I was 16, but just very, very quickly before COVID and things like that. But did it for about 5 months when I was 19 years old. Then joined BBA as a student, and then had some success around September 2023. Then stores kind of went down after our call, actually, about 2-3 months after that. Then got back up eventually, then joined as a coach here right in April last year. And then this brand right now started in June, and we scaled it really fast. So yeah.
That's impressive. You faced, like you mentioned, right? You had that initial momentum with your e-commerce business.
Yeah.
And then things started to happen. So what exactly happened? You said your store got shut down?
Yeah. So in around September, we had our first $1,000 a day, and then we went to 0 to 1. Then we had some issues with PayPal and things like that and Shopify payments. Then went to 0 to 2. Then things broke down again. And then after that, basically our account just went really weird. We're doing some kind of gray area things on Facebook. So it kind of got us really high CPMs and we couldn't really recover it again. So stopped for a bit and actually had everything on hold. So I had $20K on hold then. So I actually had to stop e-commerce for a bit in around December 2023 and actually had to get a job in a warehouse. Very around 2023, around November, October, I would say. So I quit basketball the week before that. Then store went down at the same time, worked in the warehouse. And the funniest thing was, like I said before, I was actually watching podcasts my whole time during the time I was at the warehouse. So I had every day I'd upload 10 different videos, I'd download it, and I was watching podcasts all day. And you're actually not allowed to do that in the warehouse. So it's actually against the terms of service. But because I had dreads, right, I had a beanie on, they couldn't see my AirPods. So one time I was taking my AirPod out and then some person snitched on me, but I was a month in. So I actually ended up getting fired. And that was late December 2023. And then 3 days after that, I actually went to Sydney, different state in Melbourne, different state in Australia. And I was at a Ty Lopez event, talking to millionaires, explaining how I started e-commerce and things like that and creating relationships. And then 2 weeks after that, I was back at 2K a day. So it was a really crazy 3-4 weeks where I went from warehouse in debt, for a month, then got fired. Then event, Ty Lopez, went to 0 to 2K a day, and 2 weeks after that, because I knew what I was doing already. And then so went down again. So it was really crazy. There's a lot of adversity, but I'm really happy I went through so many different changes really fast.
People should be incentivized for that, not getting fired.
I was being lazy though, I can't lie. I was taking my time.
So you were not the best warehouse worker?
I was doing the bare minimum because I knew I needed to focus more on other stuff, So I was just my ears started hurting from how much I was reading and listening to books the whole time. It was crazy. So yeah.
So when you would hire people, do you think you would be able to identify people like that on your team that have that kind of approach, that want to learn more about for themselves and for the business?
Definitely. I think a big way you can kind of mitigate that is by performance bonuses and then seeing someone's vision, right? We always ask guys, okay, how does it look in 3 years for you, right? Cool, we can grow to this number. What are you going to actually do when we're there? Do you want to be a media buyer forever, or do you want to grow or build people into a team? So I think that big thing of future pacing, which again is a copywriting thing, right? Future pacing somebody in the copy, do the same thing for people, you know? So I think it's really important that you say, okay, look, you're going to start here, but as we grow, you can become this at the head of X, Y, and Z. And I can see you making double what you're making now, as long as you keep on providing value to the company. You know?
So, and if the person says like, yeah, you know, I'm just looking for, you know, the job and I want to have like balance and I want to go like home at 5 p.m. Probably that's not the best person. They can get a job in a warehouse.
We're looking for killers, yeah.
Send them straight to that warehouse.
And it was really an interesting time because like it really kind of humbled me a bit. And like 10-hour days in the warehouse, I was reading books the whole time, just like watching things about business, about books, about copywriting and things like that. So yeah, then had some success in June. And this time I really kind of focused a lot on building back-end systems that actually were scalable and making sure that every obstacle I already had in the past, I knew how to fix preemptively.
Like kind of like, so you used every opportunity to learn and just get more knowledge, get more skills?
Exactly. Every morning I'd actually like download like 6. I would do first 2 hours would be like, you know, more like Alex Hormozy, kind of like more like normal business stuff. Then like next 3-4 hours would be like straight business books about copywriting, about, you know, strategies and things like that. Then the last 2 hours would be more like, you know, maybe like Ty Lopez, kind of more entertaining business books again. But did that for a month straight and I learned a lot. And yeah, I think it's really important for people that even when things are bad, whenever you have opportunities, whether it's walking to the gym or going, even in the gym, I read books as well. I think it's just an opportunity to learn, because then you just become more knowledgeable when you go into actual real business. You really kind of think about it subconsciously, you know?
Interesting. Pretty much like brainwashing yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. That's like, so where that like entrepreneurial like spirit comes from? Like anyone in your family was an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So I think my brother started a business when he was about 17, 18 years old. And he's 4 years older than me. And he's a marketing agency. And since I was young, he'd always tell me like, hey, you got to get into this, you got to get into that. And we used to play a lot of basketball when I was growing up. So like it would be like 6 a.m., 5:30 a.m. in the morning going to the stadium. And he'd be like blasting like Robert Greene books and marketing books and Ty Lopez. And like, bro, it's early. I don't want to listen to this right now. I said, books are stupid, things like that. And he's like, no, you're listening to this now. You're going to like, you're going to learn, you're going to grow. And that really helped shape me. So until actually when that first 1K a day, I was playing basketball almost full time as well with business. So I used to play about 8 to 10 hours a day of basketball at same professional level. So it took a lot of my time. And then once I kind of made a switch fully to business, I knew a lot of like the skill sets and a lot of the mindset things you really need to have based on sports. So I just kind of took it over and yeah, kind of came here.
Interesting. It's like your journey has been like up and down, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's usually how it is in business. I think when people are getting into the business, they expect that, you know, it's kind of like always business just going up. You don't face any challenges. You're just sitting on the beach, you know, drinking like cocktails.
Yeah.
And in reality, especially if you want to grow like a bigger business, like you will face all of those challenges. So what is the mindset that you had, for instance, like when your store like first got shut down, you're facing all these challenges? Because at that point, most people would just decide to give up, you know, get a normal job and just kind of like pursue the standard path. Mm-hmm. Like what was your mindset during those tough times? Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I knew whatever happened, I was going to do it regardless. But also I actually quite liked them, even in the moment. Like I actually had one time I had an ad account banned, and I was actually really thankful. I actually prayed, said, thank you God for this opportunity so I can get better. Because I really genuinely think like each obstacle you get so much stronger. And now like as business, you keep on growing, like the problems get bigger, right? And you just get more equipped to be able to defeat them. So I think like those initial like problems you have where it's like, you know, product doesn't win or ad account goes down, things like that, they help you become a lot stronger. And you just become used to adversity. Because without adversity, you're just not going to be able to, like, I'd rather have the fails earlier on. Because let's say I went to 0 to $1 million a month, right? Mm-hmm. On my first test. Issues happen then. I'm going to have no idea what to do. I'm going to get overwhelmed. Now, every week is a new issue. And you're just more equipped to being able to just break them down every single time.
Interesting. So on the tactical level, like, what did you change in terms of your Shopify setup, ad account setup, to have the foundation that you have now?
I think it's network. I think it's who I knew and when to reach out to them. And I think you tend to, when you kind of see a lot of different stories out there, you see it's kind of the same bottlenecks. It's payment processing, whether it's, you know, Shopify account, whether it's ad accounts and things like that. And I think just okay, I'm at this certain number, I'm at 100K a month now. What could go wrong here? How can I do a kind of a pre-mortem? So I know what could go bad here. What's the levels of this? So say it's like higher level chance, middle, medium level chance, low level chance of going bad, and kind of trying to preemptively, again, like tackle them before they happen is the biggest things. And again, like I had the right guys around me where I was learning from people that already done millions a month already, just saying, okay, look, I'm at here now. What should I do next to scale and to also sustain these things?
So instead of like being like reactive, like most people, when something happens, like, oh, it's like we have this problem, we have to fix it like right now. You decided to be more proactive.
Exactly.
Wow, that's interesting. So in terms of like products, like did you change any of your strategies, like in terms of what products to sell, kind of like how to do product research after that first success?
I think it was pretty much the same. I would just say we went for products that have a bigger TAM off the bat.
Can you explain what TAM is for people?
Yeah, so TAM is the total addressable market. So I think sometimes when I was starting out, you say, okay, it looks cool, it's selling, let's buy it, right? But like eventually to get to bigger numbers, you might hit a cap. So I think a big thing that we did was really make sure the products we pick now have growth potential at least to like 100 million a month, or 100 million a year. Might be crazy, right? But just so you can make sure that as long as your marketing is good, you can keep on growing. But if you hit a barrier with scale, you can't do much, right? I also think another big thing is not the products you pick, but how you sell them. Like, for example, one of the products we run right now for the brand, it's typically people will sell it and it's to solve the problem, right? But the way we position it now is like, get it before the problem even happens. So let's say it's a product where it's like for dogs, for example, for joint pain. If you say that this actually prevents joint pain ever happening, now your audience size is all dogs. So there's dogs that have joint pain. So now you've made your TAM much, much bigger without even changing the product at all, just changing the way you sell it and the angle.
And how do you do that research, like for the angles? Like Amazon, like forums, like where do you find that information?
Amazon, Reddit, your competitors. I think also looking at adjacent brands is a big thing. So looking at brands in different niches that sell to a very big audience, seeing how they can do it and reverse engineer it as well. And then use things like AI, ChatGPT is really a big thing.
So you are using like ChatGPT and other AI tools like every day?
Yes, for sure.
Do you use Claude as well?
We don't use Claude much. I find ChatGPT, the custom GPTs, you can do a lot more. So if like copywriting, for example, like all our scripts, we have like the different styles, it's a VSL or a shorter ad. The AI knows all our best scripts, all the competitors' best scripts. So it's really easy for us to very, very fast get a pretty 80% good output and then do the rest ourselves.
So how did you learn copywriting?
So a lot of books.
A lot of books.
I probably read over like 50 copywriting books in my life. And just courses, copywriting books, really.
Out of all of them, like which ones have you found to be the most like impactful?
Courses or books? Books, Breakthrough Advertising. I think everyone I know that's one made over 7 figures has read that book. Another one by Sean Vossler called The 7-Figure Copywriter, I think it's called. It's a great one. Something I think, not really copywriting book, but by someone named, it's called Never Split the Difference. It's a great book about negotiations, about a guy that actually used to be an FBI negotiator for like, Iraq terrorists and things like that. And I think the biggest thing is always, whether it's copywriting, whether it's like maybe like it's like, copywriting, sales, or anything like that, it really all stems from human nature. So I think having a really good foundation of human nature is the biggest thing.
What do you mean by human nature?
Just understanding people, why they do certain things is really the biggest thing, I think, in business. So like copywriting, marketing, hiring people, understanding their motivations to why they want to do something and making them impulsively do something is one of the biggest skills I think you should focus on in business.
Interesting. So when you know their main motivations, you can kind of like incentivize that behavior, right? Or kind of like make them do certain things or think a certain way to get them to buy your product. As you've been growing, right? Like you started hiring people, like now your team is expanding, which is another skill set, another like stage of the evolution that entrepreneurs have. Who was your first hire?
So first it was a video editor. I actually hired her before we actually had any success. I just told her like, look, we have nothing now, but long-term this will work. Trust me, I have a lot of experience and we ended up doing really well. But that was the first hire. It was a video editor, then a few VAs, customer service, and then kind of as we grew bigger, became like, media buyers, copywriters, graphic designers, and things like that. And also a business partner as well that I worked with. We started working together in around September, October last year, which is a close friend, so yeah.
So how big is your team right now?
Full-time, about like 8 to 10 people.
Uh-huh.
Maybe like 4 to 5 like freelance, less contract people. So yeah.
Nice. What did you learn like in terms of like hiring people? what would you say your main like takeaways on that journey so far?
I think it's really important that you do QC before they come in. I think a lot of guys make the mistake. They see their reference points, their cover letters, and it sounds all good, but make them do actual trial tasks, see how they actually operate in your business. And then as well, like when they're there, trial months are a really big thing we do, So the first month, we'll pay them the full amount. It's 50% with no bonuses, and then see how they perform. But also, I think a really big thing of hiring is make sure they're very incentivized to do well. So for our really high-level positions like copywriters, media buyers, who else? I think that's probably the main two. And video editors, they get paid per performance. So they're basically like pretty decent, but with their bonuses, they do well, but of course you do well at the same time. So to video editor, for example, you get over 2 ROAS, over like 50K in ad spend, for example, you get $200. To them, it's a great bonus for them, and we're winning at the same time. So I think finding those win-win situations is really the biggest thing when you hire them. Just because if it's just like a flat fee, they have no incentive to do better for you. It's just for them, it's just very stagnant,
And ad accounts, like which ad accounts you're using? Your own ad accounts, agency accounts? What do you use right now?
We use both, but mainly just our personal accounts. Get cash back on the cards and things like that, right? It's a little bit easier to use, so yeah.
So you came to Miami, and like you mentioned, like the environment here, like for business, like it's kind of like more inspiring than where you live back in Australia.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that makes a difference in the performance, like kind of like how you operate as an entrepreneur?
So yeah, I think definitely like when you're in places like Australia and it's quite small and there's not much money you see, it's very different. Like I've been in Brickell, right? And every 5 minutes you see a Lambo, you see something crazy all the time, and you feel like you're no longer a big fish anymore. And then people are just much open to teach and learn in areas like this. I feel like, people are, hey, what do you do? How do you do this? Like, how much money are you making? Which is very open for in Melbourne, So I think definitely environment's very important, whether it's in real life or online. It's really important to get in environments where you feel pressured, Like even the numbers are doing now. I know guys doing 5 million a month at 20 years old. When you look at stuff like that, it's like, okay, I'm still not doing anything, right? So I think just being in environments where you always have a ladder to climb, if you're very motivated, is a really big thing.
Nice. Do you have like any special like routines, like in the morning, kind of like to set yourself for the day, like anything like that?
Not really. I think like in the morning, I try to walk, I guess, get some fresh air. But apart from that, it's usually get some fresh air for 10 minutes and then I kind of get straight to the computer. So nothing crazy for me, no.
Nice. So when you joined BBA, like what were the kind of like the biggest like paradigm shifts for you initially? And then also like the paradigm shifts that you've experienced like as you've been through the program?
As a student, right?
Yeah.
I think the main thing is it's not as hard as you think it is if you know the right things, which sounds like it's kind of oxymoron, but like once you understand, okay, you used to X, Y, and Z, and you just do it in a very simple way, but it's a very way you can just be able to multiply it quite fast. It actually doesn't become that hard. It's, okay, this is the funnel here. These are the 5 points I need in this funnel. If I do these 5 points relatively well, I'll be able to hit a winner, right? But I think a lot of guys think, oh, okay, I need to know X, Y, and Z things and do it in 10 different ways. But usually this is really one specific way to do the right thing. As long as you just do it at a high quality, you'll be fine. But I think just, again, how fast you can scale on e-commerce, right? Like when I was a BBA student, right, I thought, 100K a month would be insane. Right, then I realized I got to that number. I realized there's actually so much more you can do to grow a lot faster. We grew from 100K a month in about July to 500K a month in December to 800K a month in January, right? Just by listening to the right people at the right time and realizing that the next level of scale really is based on how you execute the strategy, which a lot of people don't know is what strategy to use, right? But when you know the right people to teach you the right things, it's just you do X, Y, and Z and you go from there,
And so why you decided to join BBA in the first place?
Yeah, I went through a lot of courses that weren't as good, right? And I saw a lot of YouTube content and it really resonated with me. I actually found you through a different contact from a guy I knew from Australia. And yeah, like I think also when you learn a lot, you read a lot of books, you can tell kind of when people are saying the right things marketing wise. And I really resonated with what you said. So I joined the program and took a shot at it. And I realized when I came in, like, this is really legit. Like, there's coaches here that are making 7 figures, the 7 figures a year. Everyone here is a really clear system to how we do well. And I think it's really a really big part of things. It's not just having a course there, but having coaches, again, that have been through the journey with you. And it's, okay, I have this issue. This is what I do. This is how you should do it. Before you even go into this mess, this is what I do here. I think it's really a big part of joining a community where you have people that have already seen it. They've already gone through every trial and tribulation for you. So you can kind of just listen to them. So as long as you do listen, you'll have success.
Awesome. And so when you started BBA, like how long did it take you to see like some success?
Mm-hmm. So when I first started, I had my ad accounts all banned from when I was 16 from COVID time. So I came in, had my ad accounts banned, took me like 2 months to kind of figure out a way to unban them. Actually, one of the coaches told me, one of my good friends now, told me how to do it, but I didn't listen to him, and I tried to do it a different way and it didn't work out. And so I actually had some issues I had when I first had my first scaling product, but started in April, and I had my first winner that had 1K a day in September. So yeah, about 5 months?
5 months. Do you think you could have done it faster?
If I listened, definitely. I think I was trying to do things in terms of that thing my own way, and it was a big mistake I lost. I lost a lot of time.
And so when you started the program, you started getting the initial results. What was it feeling like? Kind of like, was that kind of like, paradigm shift for you in any ways? Like that it's possible, that it's, real, like something that you haven't felt before?
I think that first, for me, I had some sales before I joined BBA, but nothing like really long term. That first 1K a day of like consistently like over a week, over 2 weeks, seeing profit, it really just opens up your eyes into what could happen. And I think it's just like, you really recognize that, again, it's not as hard as you think it is. It's not like this magic trick you need to know. It's really just like getting good at certain skills. And then I think it's really like, to me, it's like I can do this much bigger. I can get to 100K, 200K, whatever it is later in the future. And that was really the biggest shift for me, is like, okay, now I understand how these guys make these numbers, because it's the same process now, just doing it at a higher level.
What were your favorite parts of the program?
I think it's the coaches and the connections, Like I'm a coach now, right? But when I was first there, just building friendships with coaches is a big thing for me. Like again, every day I have a guy that thinks 7 figures a year talking to me, right? Which to me, I couldn't imagine. Like, yes, obviously it's not free, but for the price, it's definitely well worth it. Talking to people that make 7 figures a year. Now there's people that, even where I'm at now, that was a long time ago. They're still my friends to this day. And now it's like I built a good friendship with people that now make a lot of money, and they're teaching me things. And now you're actually able to grow with them. And again, like any obstacle I have, I can get solved because these guys have already gone through it.
And so you're running your own e-commerce business, right? Doing like 800K a month. And also you're coach in our program.
Yes.
So like, why do that? Like, I mean, you could just like run your e-commerce business, right? Like, and just focus on that.
Mm-hmm. It's a great question. I think you learn a lot as well from seeing other people's businesses. Like, I think a big reason why I got better at hiring is by coaching people. Because it's really very similar. For example, if a student needs help with product research and you need help with making their ads, when you hire a copywriter, you hire someone to do customer service for your team, it's much easier because you already know how to train somebody. You have a lot of reps with that. And then as well, again, I think it's just, it changed my life, this program, right? So I'd love to kind of help back. And it's really fulfilling to see students that, the first 1K a day, the first 2K a day, first 3K a day, they kind of ascend to our high level programs, right? And they get to understand kind of what you lived as well, saying, okay, this makes sense. I understand how this works. And then, you just learn a lot from different people, see what works, how it works, and how to, again, just train people the right way. So, yeah.
Do you still have like a lot of friends that are not in e-commerce? Like, do you try to kind of like educate them as well, like, and get them into the business?
Yeah, actually, my business partner I've known since I was 3 years old. So a very, very close family friend, right? So, apart from that, a few friends kind of getting started as well. And I think it just, how fast you can grow in e-commerce is very attractive. I think a lot of people try to look at it the wrong way. Like, it's a get rich quick scheme. I think a lot of people kind of see like, oh, you grew so fast. So like, it's just like, you test a thing and you just run to the moon. But really, it's a lot of back end things, right? It's a lot of up and down, then it's up fast, right? But then what could go wrong at every single level, So definitely. But I think a lot of people just need to recognize when they come in, it's not going to be like that. And you need to understand, like, you're going to have a lot of obstacles that are very, very good for you,
I mean, you worked at this point with like dozens of people inside of BBA, right?
Yeah.
Hundreds at this point, probably, right? So what is he like? So you mentioned one of the things that people just look at e-commerce is this like get rich quick scheme, right? They're expecting very fast results, or they have like unrealistic expectations. What would you say some other things that, kind of mistakes that people are making when they're starting out?
I think they focus more on products than on the skills they need to get to become good at selling products, So I think having a good marketing foundation is really important. And also, again, just trying to integrate what you're taught at a very fast pace. I think a lot of guys, they get told certain things, but they get to think, oh, but this is what I believe, this is what I think. But trust the market and try to see what's already working in the market and then try to improve on that. I think it's one of the biggest things a lot of students forget is, how can I become unique? Which isn't how it works, right? Uniqueness isn't, you don't have thousands of millions of dollars, you don't have millions of dollars to try a unique thing, right? You need to see what's working in the market and see how you can do something and model it, something very similar to that, and see how you can improve from that, you know?
So people trying to be like too...
Reinvent the wheel. Yeah.
Interesting. Like, for example, with products that you're selling right now, are these like saturated products, as people would say, like, or it's something more unique?
Definitely saturated in people's eyes, right? But what changes, like saturation is based on the angle, not the product. Like I don't think products can really die unless the angles in it are dead, right? So for example, the product we sell right now, as I mentioned earlier on, right? Like the actual normal angle is very popular, but we made it very, very unique. We run VSLs to it, it's like 3-4 minute VSLs. So they don't actually even understand what they're buying yet until like a minute and a half in. So like they are just getting the problem and getting used to that for the first minute and a half, and now introducing the product and saying like, okay, now this fixes it. But you should have product in the first couple of seconds. I've seen this already before. I don't really care, right? So it's really important that you make the way you sell the saturated product very, very unique. And if you can do that, you'll be able to still make millions of dollars with the same product.
So the first time that you tried e-commerce, when you got to like $1,000, $2,000 a day, like did you run VSLs as well?
Yes, but it wasn't unique. It was more just like very similar to our competitors. It was in like anti-aging and beauty, right? But it was very much, this funnel is doing well, make it very similar to this. But what happens when you do stuff like that, it dies out very quickly because everyone's seeing the same angle, the same type of funnels, and it doesn't last long term, right? But it's a lot better to, again, kind of what we're doing right now is seeing what works and kind of seeing 5 different brands, for example, putting it all into one. But then it becomes your own thing that way, you know? And you kind of put your own spin towards it, and it becomes a much bigger scale because it's still unique to the market in a way, but the product itself isn't unique.
I really love it. I really love it. Like, so it's pretty much like when you are, because we all like, you know, there's so many like spy tools. There's, you look into your competition, how they're selling products. And what most people would do is just kind of try to rip it, like change a few words like in a VSL or like advertorial and try to create something super similar. Yeah. You on the other side, you're looking at not just one competitor, but several competitors, maybe like in different niches as well.
Exactly.
So you can learn how they sell their products, how they position their product, when they introduce their product, how they differentiate from all of the other options in that particular market, so that you consolidate all that information. And this way you're making your VSLs much different.
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting. So what would you say was the biggest thing for you when it comes to like learning VSLs? Like, is that just like rewriting them like by hand, or just using ChatGPT, or like using some other tools? Like what worked the best for you?
I think the first thing is, again, like understanding a very good foundation of copywriting. So you understand why every part of that VSL works. Why are they mentioning this now? Why are they talking about the competitors now? Why are they saying guaranteed the end? I think if you don't have any structure, or you don't understand why psychologically it works, you're going to copy someone one-to-one, you're going to understand what parts of it make it actually work. So I think the first thing, number one, is understanding how to make the VSL work, or the avatar, whatever funnel it is. And then you can reverse engineer it by checking other competitors. And then we use AI a lot. So again, like we have like an AI for each of our kind of types of scripts. So if it's a VSL, for example, we've fed our ChatGPT like hundreds of our best VSLs, hundreds of other competitors' VSLs, and it knows exactly each structure and why it works. And then it can spit it out. But if you use AI, you don't understand what good copy is. You're going to have no idea what's good and what's bad. But you need to use AI more as like your assistant to kind of accelerate it instead of seeing it as something that just does all the work for you.
Oh, interesting. That's a great mindset shift. So you use AI as your assistant,
yes.
not something that will just completely like do everything for you. Wow. Because you need to know the foundations of what the good copy is, and you need to like really like learn all of these like building blocks of a good VSL, good advertorial, good product page, good ad, in order to create something that's good. Wow, I love it. So what would you say to people that are like on the fence of like joining BBA?
I would say that BBA is a program where you're not going to have success if you don't want to put in the work. We're not going to just save you, right? But if you're willing to put in the work, we have everything that can help you get to the next step. Like I did it myself. We have a lot of clients who've done it as well. And it's a great program. Like I said, like you have everything you need to do well on e-commerce. Any problem that you have, you know, can get fixed as long as you ask the right questions. So I think definitely if you're on the fence, I think it's the best program I've seen. I've been on 10, 20 plus programs. And I think what we have built is something where it's very tangible, people that even are beginners, as long as you're willing to put in the work.
For sure. With people that are successful with e-commerce, that are doing, that you talked with, what do you think the biggest like differentiating point between like them and, let's say, people that might be stuck at like 7 figures or 6 figures for a long time?
Mm-hmm. I would say it's the ability to integrate fastly. Definitely something really important. Like you learn something new, how fast can I put it into the business? Mm-hmm. Then secondly, again, I think it's really about access to information. I think a lot of guys get stuck, so they don't know what to do next, and they just trying to throw a lot of things that don't make sense at the wall. I think having that second layer of eyes, that the guys that have been above you at a higher level, is the biggest thing. Like I have a lot of mentors that have done 8, 9, mid 9 figures, right? So for them, they've been where I'm at before, they've been stuck here before. So really, it's easy to you do X, Y, and Z, which is really hard to find those people. When you have found them, it's really important that you actually create relationships with them, and then you kind of grow and ask the right questions. Don't take it for granted,
So you are 21.
Yes.
Right. So what are your plans like this year? What do you want to do?
Yeah. So we're gonna keep on growing this brand. We can get it to $1 million, $5 million a month in the next couple of months. But as well as kind of switching as well to kind of a more MRR kind of brand. So we're kind of looking at a supplement brand in the future, in the next couple of months. So basically, it's kind of the next bigger place we can sell it for a higher multiple. Because right now, the products sell more like physical products still. And obviously, yes, they're great to make money and cash cow and things like that. But obviously, long term, if you want to sell the company, probably won't be for that big of a valuation. So the biggest thing for us is really building a really strong front end team, back end team that can scale multiple brands at once, as well as be able to build a more long-term business that I know I can keep and grow for the next 5, 10 years. It's gonna be well worth growing it. It's another brand right now where yes, we can go for the next couple of years, but it won't be as much of a big sell.
Nice. When we had our first conversation, you were doing like what, $1,000, $2,000 a day.
Yeah.
And I mentioned at the end of the conversations that we'll have another conversation when you'll be doing like 100K per month. You surpassed that, a long time ago. So it's very inspiring to see. And I think, for people that are watching, it's your like live demonstration of what's possible. Like you had challenges like the same as everyone else, right? You got into business. Not everything worked out right away, right? It took you like 5 months initially to get that initial traction, but you didn't give up. Then you started having success. And then it's kind of like everything started like breaking down. You still didn't give up. And just like observing like your story and just kind of like the overall like trajectory, it's just like so important to stick, even if it doesn't work, right? Like you have to have faith that this is possible and just continue pursuing, continue like building, not letting, external like forces or other things distract you from the vision that you have. Thank you so much, Bukunmi, for joining me. It was a great conversation. If you guys want to connect with Bukunmi, Bukunmi is actually coaching BBA program. So if you want to work with him directly, there should be a link below this video. Would love to have you, and it's amazing to have you on the team, and it's amazing to getting to know you and just observing your journey.
Thank you, and I'll see you guys inside BBA. Let's scale. Let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Take care.